and I'm gonna. There's questions on here, but I think I'm gonna speak into that too and have everyone comment on that because
Hmm.
it's interesting. Sometimes we go through life and don't even realize my hair is
Hmm.
like on this side. Does not even realize that what we're doing and
Hmm.
thinking and being is really
Hmm.
going against our true selves, our authentic soul, or who we really are, or what we
Hmm.
truly believe.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
and can we talk into that? Because I think, like you said, the imprinting, I think is fascinating because when I finally questioned, I was like, do I really believe that? And I think that's when I got married. And then when you get married and stuff like that, all of a sudden you sound like your
Hmm.
mother and you're just like, whoa. And that's when I started getting help when I sounded like
Hmm.
my mother. So I'm really fascinated by this subject of just how much we carry of other people's beliefs and thoughts that we grew up with, and then
Yeah.
how to release them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I say that's a lot of it. A lot of times I tell people, my talk today was going to be about moving through life's challenges with grace.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of times we have to learn how to make up our mind. First of all, step all the way back and find out what it is that we're thinking. Because a lot of times I'm deep into neuro science and neurolinguistics, epigenetics, and all of that too. And some of those who study that arena have already told us. I know I love the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza too. Someone mentioned it, and he says, we have approximately 60 to 70 thoughts a day, most negative, most from the same, the day before, the year before, decades before even. So we kind of just fall into these patterns. So one of the first things that we can do is learn to come into excellent relationship with our minds and see what the heck is going on up here. Who am I? So learning how to kind of sit still, with
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. And I literally keep something in front of my desk that says, what are you thinking about? Because I had to use these same practices to go overcome my traumas.
Mm-hmm.
My walk with breast cancer, my walk with the sudden death of my father. Um, I've also been in a separate country. Lisa talked a lot about traveling, where I was
Mm-hmm.
held at gunpoint on my knees by militia. And I'm currently going through a divorce, unraveling, a
Mm-hmm.
relationship that I've been in for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these practices, I had to implement every day. And first of all, is what am I thinking about? So, and then you can begin to also, once you see those things, then you can start to, form the practices of repetition to begin the reprogramming of the subconscious mind, like Kimberly talked about, because we have this beautiful dance every day between the subconscious and the conscious. And she already told us, 95% of the times we're operating out of an old, extinct trait program. Um, and a lot of times we read the books and we think we can just change this and, oh, I'm going to say something great to myself every day. But like Kimberly told us, it's work. Our conscious is only at play about 5% of the day. So,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we can, with all of our heart, want to be this amazing person doing these great things. And then, we vomit on someone with our words or our negative energy by accident, and we're like, oh crap, I just read 10 books on that. Why did I do that? It's because, again, the old program is playing. So it takes that repetition and that dedication and that awareness to even begin the work. It's a beautiful work, but it is work.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Fatuma says, "What am I thinking about?" Great question.
Mm, yeah, every day, every day,
What
every
am I
moment.
thinking about? Yeah, I've
What am
got
I
like,
thinking about?
yeah, I think that's important because sometimes, I mean, especially someone like me, I'm always like, my thoughts are like beep, 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 beep,
Mm-hmm.
beep.
Mm-hmm.
So to slow that down and really take that time for yourself, I think is beautiful. Thank you. Kimberly,
Mm-hmm.
you want to jump in? I'm going to mute you, Erica. And then,
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
found unmute, I think.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So talking about, just how, how to, I know you spoke about this also, but like, just how to just noticing that the many thoughts and who we are imprinted on us and from our families and our experiences, and how to really release that.
Yeah, I encourage my clients to actually keep a section in their journal where they're constantly writing new beliefs that they recognize that are showing up. A lot of the negative thoughts that even go through your head are actually just a belief. when you were taught as a child, it's safer not to speak up because things went bad when you did. It feels like that's a rule that you learned. That's a belief that needs to go on your list. So you'll recognize beliefs that you have every single day. And then it's really, I think, an important exercise as you're processing that belief to sit with it for a little while and spend some time asking how it served you. Why have you kept it all these years? You've kept it because at some level it's made you feel safe. There's been some sense of safety. And the one that I just mentioned, keep quiet, don't speak your truth, that obviously kept you safe as a child. And probably even as an adult, there's times that it helps you avoid conflict, which scares you. So it served you. But there's always a cost. And you also need to sit with what the cost of that belief is. And really be honest with yourself about what you lose when you choose to keep a hold of that. And then I encourage my clients to write a new rule. What would be a healthier belief for you? A new policy on that, because there's sometimes it is smarter to not speak up, but there's times that it's really, really important that you do. How would you know the difference? You've got to think that one through. You got to figure out what you want your new belief to be. And I keep also a section in my journal of new beliefs that I've written, and I need to read them and look at them often to help myself to really change that. Now in coaching, we've got some other techniques, but they have to really be done in a coaching setting to help you integrate those beliefs at the subconscious level and really internalize them. But I think the start writing a new set of rules for yourself. What do you want your truth to be? What would serve you more? And choose the ones that would.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Lisa?
Yeah, I just would echo what they're saying. It's the same thing. You have to know who you are and get rid of those beliefs. And, I think it's a journey. You have to set up systems and put those in place. Like I did, who do I want to be like? And I have their pictures up everywhere. I have my declarations. And anytime I have a thought, I write it down. Why am I having that? I write my dreams down. Why did I dream about this? And if you see a reoccurring dream, you start going, oh, these are my beliefs, or who are you dreaming about? Who's recurring in your dreams? And I think it's all in the subconscious mind of getting rid of that. And once I started shedding all the old beliefs, my whole world started opening up because I got rid of, I have to be the shy, quiet one in the room. I can't be in a leadership position. And I held those beliefs till I was almost 30. And it's insane that you let so much of your life go by. So I think it's really just keeping yourself accountable. And I found a great way to do that is also with an accountability partner, which I have, where you write down what are things you're working on. I usually do mind, body, heart, soul, and one thing in each category. Mm-hmm. And it's always about catching your thoughts. What are you thinking? And why do you keep thinking that? And again, as Kimberly said, how is it serving you? Because it always is serving you in some way. Otherwise, you would get rid of it. And even the stuff that I had of, why do I keep stopping and trying to lift others because of whatever energy I get from them? And it's half of that was I wasn't ready yet myself. So I was going, that's a great excuse. You have to go, why do I keep having this pattern? So once you really set up these systems, for me, writing declarations every day and listening to them at night before you go to bed, just record them on your phone in your voice and listen to them in the morning. If you really need help, I would listen to them all day long. Just let that play on a loop all day long. This is who you are, because you have to step into who you are. You have to create who you are. You either create who you are or you're falling backwards. You have to do things every single day. So that's what I think it is, just keeping whatever systems work for you.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to tell you an experience I had in really about this imprinting of my parents and how I kind of released it was, when I looked at the relationship of my parents. And I was like this, thinking of myself as this little kid, and I looked up and I saw, my dad, who was withholding and quiet. He was like withholding and quiet. And then my mom was reactive and angry, right? Which I think a lot of us can relate to in our families. And I looked at that and I thought, he has more power. She's over here out of control. So I really went towards that shutting down, withholding, hiding. Because I looked at that and I thought, as a child, he's more powerful than her. And I don't want to look like that. So my mom, so I was like, I don't want to be that yelling person. So I chose him as the powerful one, right? Unfortunately, shutting yourself down as a woman who's like superpowers or freedom and openness, I was out of sync with myself for many years, like really out of sync with myself. And I realized that, wow, that withholding, that shutting down isn't mine. That's his. That belongs to him. That's not mine. I just took it on because I thought that was the more powerful position to be in. So that's just a different outlook on that, because I think our origins of our parents, if you visualize, like, what did you think was more powerful? Who did you think was more powerful in that relationship? For me, I thought it was my dad. And I took on that aspect of him, which did not belong to me at all and did not serve me. It served me for a while, but ultimately it did not serve me. And I got rid of it. That's why I'm able to be, out here with you and speak my truth and say what I want to say, and know that that's me. That's who I am. That's my authentic soul, as we were talking about. So that was my revelation. Thank you. On this parenting imprinting stuff. I was just like, I'm not holding on to this anymore. This is not mine. So I'm going to move on to another question, because I have a lot of questions here. And I'm going to ask one of these. It says, how to work with subconscious beliefs. Is that what we've been talking about? How to work with subconscious beliefs? Someone asks. Is that what we've been discussing? You got it.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's one of my favorite areas to play.
Okay.
And the first thing that is fascinating about subconscious beliefs is it said that if you just take a look at your adult life right now, the areas in your life that you struggle with the most are usually the areas that were imprinted when you were young. And, sometimes that can be as early as, and sometimes I've had clients say, well, I don't even remember, like, what could have happened around money when I was 2 or 3, or what could have happened. This can be, we're talking about as far back as in your mother's womb. Stressors, tensions, and, stress and challenges that happen even in the womb, can cross over to the fetus, to the unborn child. Mm-hmm. So you may not realize why you're shaky, why you're nervous, or why you shy and shrink back in front of people and the like. So usually, again, whatever happens, whatever you struggle with in your adult life can be that from your early programming. And that can start again from the womb to about the age, approximately of age 7. So a lot of times we don't even remember, or we don't have awareness about it. And the other thing that's good to know is that anything can be rewritten. I love how Kimberly said too, how, a belief, we get a choice, as to which end of the stick we want to look at, pretty much. And I'm paraphrasing here, because we're going to believe something either way. So if you think that naturally you're just bad with money because your parents said money doesn't grow on trees, money is not for us, we just don't have money, you get to work on that programming, and you get to decide as an adult what you believe about money. What are your money beliefs? And then you can write new ideas down, You can listen to recordings as you go to sleep, so you can play with the different dimensions of sleep to actually embed new programs, which is said to be one of the easiest ways to rewrite your subconscious programming. And then again, just repetition, telling yourself who you are. You know, the words I am, which are the greatest programmers that we all know. So you can play around with that. And then again, too, just the repetition, checking in with money, for example, daily, if that's a belief that you want to rewrite, making sure that you read books on money, telling people, I'm great with money, you know, making your declarations, whatever it is. But again, that repetitious behavior is what can be used to rewrite the program. And that's just one thing. You know, there are many that you can do. There are all kind of psychologies and things that you can dive into, but that's one of the many.
And let me ask you this, because, you know, this is interesting to me, because do you think also because the state you put yourself in, the state of being, because the state of the I am, the being embodying a state, how to, like, instead of just in your, like, how, you know what I mean?
Definitely. And I love that you said that. You know, you really want to make sure that you feel it. So that gets into vibration work and the like, you know, into physiology. So it's said that you can stand up in a mirror, you know, with your hands on your hips and make your declarations. You can smile and make your declarations, right? Because joy is one of the highest vibrations and happiness that there is. So you definitely want to get into a feel good place, because if you're feeling low and you just say it, more times than not, you won't own it. You definitely want to get to feel good, get to the best feeling place that you can, and then make those declarations, and that makes them stick more so like true. And then other people, you know, that are seeking you out or looking for you or that are here on this planet to help you in that effort, they light up for you. And that's how you get those synchronicities of meeting that person. So you declare you're great with money, and then you realize, like in my case, that I had two amazing women in my life who are amazing with money, amazing with credit. And as I'm going through my divorce and reinventing myself, I had these two lovely forces that have been in my life for years that I had no idea had these talents right here, ready to step in and be my guides to help me to rebuild my financial life. So that's what happens when you start making those declarations from a good place and believing that you're worthy, right? That you have that intrinsic value. No one's better than you. Some people's blanks have been filled in better than yours, right? Better exposures, better experiences, but we all have that amazing value, and we're all capable if we so accept the mission and to choose it.
Who wants to jump in? Anyone?
I just think it's always about vibration.
Yeah.
You know, how you vibrate is what you attract. So you really have to work on, you know, building yourself up every day. If you wake up depressed every day, or poor me, or another soul-sucking day, which is someone I know used to say every time, like, you don't say that first thing in the morning. But yeah, when you start doing that, that is who you attract. And that's when negativity comes into your life, when you're just saying, this is who I am. And you bring joy, like Erica was saying, just bring that joy in, do your affirmations with a smile, and just set your day up of this is who I am. And this is how I'm vibrating. And the right people, when you're open, will come to you. And again, when you're tapped into your soul's purpose, you know, I always say expect miracles, because miracles are everywhere and people are everywhere. And we don't go, oh my God, you're my soulmate, or we're supposed to work together, or this is the direction I'm supposed to learn from you, or whatever it is, because you're too busy in your head with all your problems, and life sucks, and life never works out for me, and you know, I'm angry and I have no money. It's easy for you because you've got this and that, how they talk to you. It's like, no, because you're not open. You have to be open to the universe. The universe is so vast, always giving us information. We're always downloading. Every positive thing that happened to me was an accident. And I was open to it when the download hit. Now, from the orphanage, then, oh, I'm going to memorialize your words. Just that made me have to go on this mission. And somehow when it's a strong mission, you find the means to do it. You know, it just flows for you. Then that led into my whole career. But who knew that one trip would change everything I do in my life for the next 20 years, 30 years. So, yeah, so it's all about vibration.
Yeah, thank you. Kimberly?
Yeah, sorry, I was staying muted. There was
Sorry,
some
I know.
emergency here, and sirens
Oh.
have been going off, so I
Gosh.
wasn't stepping in. But I think we've hit the beliefs
Mhm.
one pretty well. These ladies are brilliant. We've had some great stuff. Do you want to ask another question?
Well, I'm going to add to that because when I coach people in this, just to give you some like maybe how to's, is like, people like, I don't know how to put it in my body. I don't know what that means to like really vibrate and use the vibration. So I say like, well, you know what confidence looks like. So if you see an actor with confidence, you're like, oh, you can see their body position. You can see the way they carry themselves. You can see the way they walk into a room. So you start, even though you might not be able to feel those vibrations right away, or like, I'm a dancer, so I'm really in my body all the time. So for me to feel certain things is very easy, but many people are in their heads. So you can start practicing taking on other people's persona of happiness, what it looks like, and really start learning how to embody those. So when you do your affirmations in a vibration, a high vibration, then it's easier to get in your body when you can, if you have a hard time with it, it's easier to put these aspects of joy and confidence and hope and love inside of your body when you start like practicing seeing other people and taking it on. It's like an actor, right? An actor takes on a gait, a walk, but it takes a while, but we can embody that into an emotion. That's my actors movement class, dancers movement class. So yeah, I love this because, gosh, there's so much brain work out there and with the mind, and there's so many possibilities out there now for everybody out there on changing your thoughts and into creating new realities of happiness and love and joy and success also. So we're at 12:30. Let's talk about one more thing. Let's talk about there's a lot of connection, like how to stay connected with yourself, how to stay connected with others. There's a lot of like connection and then conflict. I think that I'm going to put this one in because we're a bit of a brain people in this section. And so one woman asked, why do some mothers and daughters continually butt heads and end up in conflict? And how can we stop the pattern? So she's got this pattern going on. There's something in the pattern, right? There's something in a pattern of that. I have an idea about why you might be butting heads with certain daughters or certain sons or certain people, why you butt heads. So who wants to jump in? And we're talking about patterning, we're talking about conflict, we're talking about relationships all in one sentence, right?
I'll come in.
Okay.
I have a daughter.
Yeah.
Well, what I learned about raising Ava is she's a Taurus. I'm a Taurus. We're both strong. And I want her to get great grades. I want her to go to bed on time. And I don't want her eating sugar all day. And those are the biggest things that we have conflict about. Although she's a great kid and a great student, but she could get lazy like everyone, especially during COVID. So when she was younger, when she was really strong, I don't want to go to bed, and she'd cry. So I would allow her to say, okay, you go to bed, but we're getting up at this time because she has school. We're getting up at 7. We have to get you at school at 8. And then I would trick her and make her get up earlier. And then she would be tired. And then she'd say, oh, Mom, that didn't work for me. I need to go to bed a little earlier. I would trick her again until it became the time I thought she needed, where she'd get her 12 hours. And then she learned. But it came from her. So then she said, oh, I have to go to bed at 8. That's my time. I said, great. So once it came from her, and same with sugar, she was eating sugar a lot. I said, okay. Everyone's body's different. You know what's best for you, but let's watch. So I sat in front of Netflix and we watched 3 or 4 shows over a week's time on sugar and what sugar does to the body. So in documentaries on YouTube. So then she got it. So I said, now do whatever you want. So of course she was still eating some sugar, but slowly she started not doing it. And I said, this is the opposite of what to do. And she started doing it on her own. So sometimes it's just giving that, not reacting and yelling, because that doesn't work. When you yell or fight, they fight stronger, especially, she's not a teenager yet, but especially when they become teenagers, from what I've heard and seen. So it's about giving them power and still having them have a say in their life and what goes on. And I found that just works. I could tell you 10 other things that helped in that area of just letting her decide or showing her the difference.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
So,
Thank you.
mm-hmm.
Yes, Kimberly.
Can I jump in on this one?
Yes.
Yeah, these kind of relationship people problems are my favorite to talk about. So I told you that all of us have a dominant core fear, right? It's either fear of loss or fear of failure. Because that there's only 2 types of people. There's only 3 possible relationships we can have. 2 fear of failure people together, 2 fear of loss people together, or 1 of each, right? And this just makes understanding the dynamics in a relationship so simple. So if it's 2 fear of failure dominant people together, there's usually not a lot of conflict because you're both so people pleasing and want the other to be happy. And it's not as much conflict. Mm-hmm. 2 fear of loss dominant people together both need control. They both have strong opinions about things. In order to feel safe in the world, they need things their way. Yes. So it's going to be a relationship with a lot more conflict. But for this mother and daughter, it could be really valuable for them to find out which ones they are, so we know what's happening. Is this a power struggle because you both need things your way to feel safe? And can you recognize that your behavior with your daughter is coming from your fear, not your love? Mm-hmm. So what often happens with kids, if they do something we don't like, they're late for school or whatever, it literally is made us feel unsafe in the world because this isn't how it should be. It should be different than this. So I need you to be this way for me to feel safe. Well, that's all about you. That's not about what your child needs or what's going on with them. The other thing that we see even more common is 1 of each. And especially in marriage relationships, we tend to be opposites attract. So we end up married to the opposite. And I just as an example, Amy, if you and I were in a relationship of some kind, as a fear of loss dominant person who needs control, you might also notice things that aren't right, that need to be fixed. And you make these suggestions to me. And by the way, I have a daughter who's like this. She just wants everything to be at its best. So she's always pointing out what I'm not doing right. Well, those kinds of comments would not bother her at all. She's not fear of failure dominant. So getting feedback like that all the time doesn't bother her. But me being fear of failure dominant, I see all of her helpful suggestions as an insult. Mm-hmm. And I feel criticized and criticized and criticized. And that starts to get to me. And I get out of balance and I pull away from her because it's safer for me to be away from her and away from her criticism. Well, that makes a fear of loss dominant person feel even more loss. So now they feel even more unsafe. They're actually going to be even more controlling or more opinionated to make themselves feel safer. And it becomes this vicious cycle. So I want the mother and daughter who turned in this question to just go to 12 shapes and each of you take the quiz and find out which shape you are. Because this could be so simple. And I've got a worksheet that tells you if you're that shape and they're that shape, this is what the issues will be. This is how you will trigger each other. And this is the way they need to be treated and the way you need to be treated to make this relationship more smooth. We only have problems in relationships when we get triggered by each other. And it's unintentional because usually the behaviors that are triggering you, I'm doing them to make me feel better. It's not about you, but it makes you feel more unsafe. And so you behave in a bad way that's going to trigger me more, and we just go around and around.
Right.
Often I can show you these dynamics in 5 minutes flat if we just know what your dominant core fear is.
Right. Erica, what do you got for us? Oh, you have to unmute yourself. Yeah. Doot, doot, doot.
Okay. I was chomping at the bit. I got so excited about this topic. All of this has been good. I also am a mother, and I have 2 girls. I have one that's turning 12 in a couple of weeks and one that's turning 14 in a few weeks. And right now it's just us. As I said, I'm going through a divorce. And I love the awareness that comes from the whole fear of loss, or, the fear of failure, because it's so helpful when parenting. I feel like every parent should be aware. And also just having that self-awareness of yourself, it really helps you as far as how to govern. If I had to speak to that mother, I would say, I love the whole premise of we are our children's guide, not their dictator, not their boss. My belief is that they're here for their own journey, their own life experience. We don't know what their contribution is on this earth yet, so really to give so much of us to them, I think can be suffocating. So I'm always trying to be aware of kind of stepping back and seeing who they are, what they need, and also focusing on self. I had a lot, and still I'm working through the fear of loss. That's a big thing with me. I actually was in the room with my brother when he passed away, standing next to my mother, as my daughters were being born when they were very young. And I remember standing there looking at my mom, watching my brother pass away. We were literally in the room until his heart stopped. We decided to wait and be with him after medical professionals had attempted to save his life. So I don't want to be too gory, but just imagine how, someone can look. And we're standing there, and I remember having almost this out-of-body experience, look at my mother. And as I'm just becoming a mother, I have like a 2-month-old daughter. I'm looking at my mother, and for the first time, it hit that a mother can actually bury her child. A mother can watch her child pass away. And I'm like, that's not how it's supposed to be. Wait. And now I'm a mom, and now I'm trying to do anything and everything. If my kid gets a sneeze, a sniffle, if they say something hurts, I was just, can you imagine my trauma there? And so I became a very suffocating mom when they were really small. So my work has always been to more so trust the universe, right? Trust in universal protection, trust in God protection, and detaching myself from outcomes so much, because I think as parents, a lot of times we are attached to some kind of outcome, whether it's a fear of failure, and we're trying to make sure that they get those grades, that we don't look bad as a parent, the parents who are doing their children's homework and projects and things like that, so that they don't look like a failure as a parent, right? Wanting to make sure that their child shines no matter what, all the way to loss, making sure we keep our children alive. And oh my God, I couldn't imagine. So instead of running around trying to play God, and make sure that my girls are okay, everything's okay, and, plugging every hole, I'm just imagining, when the fire hose goes off and you're just trying to make sure everything is okay, and you basically get frazzled. It's more so trying to trust that, God or the universe, whatever your higher power is, has your children and has your child, and she's on her journey, and we can't control so much. It's more so trust and know what our own traumas are and our own triggers, so that we're not projecting them onto the children, our children, to give them more fears and worries and concerns.
Yeah, and I want to say that, like Kimberly, I was just thinking the same thing. Your daughter is here, and you're probably, she's hitting all of your triggers. She's hitting all your pain points. She is there to heal you. She is there for you to heal yourself, and to really look at yourself, and to find the adventure of healing. Because when people can't trigger you, it's because you don't have a pain point around it. Like, so if someone says something to you and you don't have a pain point around it, you're like, but when someone says you're a bad mother and you have a pain point around that, that's pain. That's just going to trigger you into action and reaction. So I just comes from a dad, a withholding dad, surrounded by 3 daughters. Okay. Was a lesson learned? No. But it's like, you, as a mother, you standing here with someone who's probably very like you. It's a beautiful lesson to like heal and to practice release and allowing people on their path. It's a true gift. It's a true gift, I believe, to take that journey with your daughter. On that note, we're going to Erica's interview. Thank you guys. That was beautiful.